Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob, and today we're gonna be continuing the file narration series with the characters' voice lines for the various operators in Arknights. In this mini countdown series towards the release of Stultifera Navis, we're gonna be going over the full files of operators who were both present in the previous released Undertide story, aka Stultifera Navis' first part, and characters that are just connected to the overall plot and share some little tidbits and details about the whole Iberian Abyssal Hunter, Seaborn, Sea Terror thing altogether. So far, featured characters like Whisper Rain, Mizuki, Gladia, Andreana, and today we're gonna be taking a look at Skadi and Skadi the Corrupting Heart in one single video. Now, one quick thing before we go into the character as a unit and then into the files. This is technically the last video before the release of Navis tomorrow. Before the first video that will go up will be after the release of Navis will be the pull video, and then after that one will be the full file and voice files for Spectre Alter and Spectre, the normal version. So expect that one after the release. But for now, let's go into Skadi as a unit. First off, she's a Dreadnought, categorized as a Dreadnought unit, which means high HP, high attack, but lower defense on the other hand, and obviously only one block. Now, that doesn't really matter, and we'll get into that very quickly when we go over her skills and such. But first off, from her module, that was recently released. Also, I want to point out the module does, obviously, like every other module, once you unlock them, have a story, which I have already covered and narrated on this channel. Will be linked on the screen at the end of the video, plus in the description if you want to go and listen to that one. In other news, the module itself gives her a passive of when she is defeated once per deployment, she recovers all of her HP back. However, her HP is reduced by 60%, but she gains the attack speed up, which is nice. Then we have the Abyssal Hunter trait that pretty much all Abyssal Hunters so far had. In Skadi's case, the trait gives other Abyssal Hunter operators 14% flat attack up, which is very good. So, just to go back through them, Andreana gives other Abyssal Hunter units attack speed up. Gladia gave other Abyssal Hunter units regen, plus if they are fighting and receiving damage from Seaborn, they have a reduction by 25% of physical and arts damage. And now we have Skadi, who is giving every Abyssal Hunter 14% damage. Now, like I think I've said it already, Spectre, on the other hand, does not have one of such traits. Now, I do not know, because I haven't seen the unit stats or anything, I do not know if Spectre Alter has anything. I presume she will, but we'll see that about that tomorrow. But in other news, her second talent is just a redeployment reduction time of 10 seconds. Now, this might seem weird here, but we'll get in a second into why that is important. Now, as for her skills, now I want to remind everybody, this is one of the very early units released into the game. It is very simple. But let's go over the skills. So skill number 1, just a small attack increase with a pretty decent attack speed increase. Nothing to scoff at, but it's still getting outshined by the other two. Now, why did I just say that the 10 second reduction in redeployment is good? Well, her second skill is a passive skill, which makes it so that her attack goes up by 120% for 25 seconds when she gets deployed. So that is a massive, it more than doubles her attack for those 25 seconds. And it is great because it gives her kind of versatility. Neural the Radiant also has a second skill that is pretty good and pretty useful because it is a on-deployment skill, like this one. So both of them share kind of this similar trade-off. They can be used in like a, oh shit, I need to deploy something quick scenario, and it gains automatically a huge buff to kill something that is annoying you potentially. Her third skill, on the other hand, pretty much makes her into the dreadnought she is on the description, on her very own description. 100%, aka doubling up on attack, defense, and her max HP, which is ridiculous. It does seem like it's a lot of energy, but it does come initially with a lot of energy already stored up, so that kind of counterbalances the overall energy cost for the first time. But pretty much like most units who have this ridiculous high amount of energy required to be used on a skill like this, you'll potentially use it like once, maybe twice on a stage, because the majority of stages are very short in general. Final thing I can quickly share is, if I remember right, yeah, her name is well, her name is Skadi, but she shares the name of a Norse goddess of the same name, which is the goddess of hunting and winter. It's maybe a bit weird, considering she is themed after killer whales and such, but alright. Anyway, let's go into her file, and this again is one of the early written files, and it is very vague on stuff, especially because back then obviously nothing concrete was released about Aegir and or other things, especially Seaborn and stuff, considering that story has not yet been written. But let's go over it. There are several little things here that are quite amusing. So, basic info. Codename Skadi, gender female, combat experience 13 years. Place of birth Aegir. Date of birth March 7th. Race unknown. Once again, we have this is the second one, I believe. Hold on, I need to double check now because I don't remember. It's been like 2 days since I recorded you. Where are you? Since I recorded you, I'm gonna talk. Yeah, her race is counted as Aegir. But yeah, Abyssal Hunters have this little thing where it's like race unknown because of reasons. And we'll go over those reasons in the second portion of this video. Continuing, height 166 centimeters. Infection status, non-infected as confirmed by medical examination. Physical exam, physical strength redacted. Mobility standard, physical resilience excellent, tactical acumen standard, combat skill excellent, and once again, Originium Arts Assimilation flawed. Continuing. Profile. Skadi is a bounty hunter currently employed by Rhode Island. She has shown impressive combat prowess in the past, defeating large creatures, eliminating difficult targets, fighting crucial battles, and winning entire wars. She is very experienced in combat, but her history prior to becoming a bounty hunter is unclear. She is now an operator for Rhode Island for a Rhode Island assault team, and also executes solo missions. Clinical analysis. Imaging tests on this operator show clear outlines of internal organs with no abnormal dark spots or shadows. No unusual traces of originium particles present in the circulatory system, no signs of infection, confirming this operator as uninfected. Again, I did so many of these videos that I'm trying to read it in the way it's written in all the other descriptions here, and I'm fighting it as I'm reading it. And then we go, cell originium assimilation 0%. No, ore pafe. God fucking damn, why? But yeah, continuing. Blood Originium crystal density 0.013 units per liter. What? This is impossibly low. It would be impossible to have that little exposure to Originium. Again, like I stated in yesterday's video for Gladia, usually it's at least 0.05 or above, anywhere towards 30 and plus. But this is pretty much non-existent traces of Originium, which obviously has everybody confused. Continuing, I cannot permit her to ever leave the medical department. Even if she wants to go fight, I insist she stays back. She is a special case. Anyone who loves medical science would want to see her. We must give her more exams and do a clinical analysis. Also, come on, Dr. Kaltsit, just this once, please. Signed by J.A. Medic Operator. Response from Kaltsit. Request denied. Someone had fun. Someone had fun writing this one. Archive file number 1. Skadi is not very popular with the denizens of Rhode Island. She has avoided making friends, is hesitant to speak, and consistently declined invitations from other operators to socialize, preventing anyone from getting to know her. In addition, she rarely cooperates in combat. She will more often try to execute operations single-handedly and leave her teammates to clean up her mess, which has fostered resentment. Playing off her cold, sarcastic demeanor towards others and her relentlessness in battle, a rumor has emerged that she is part demon. Although Amiya quelled the rumor, it didn't stop there. Instead, it evolved into something even more extreme. A later version abandoned anything derogatory and focused on stories of her immense power. In the minds of operators who don't know her, she comes off as a walking catastrophe. Archive file number 2. It is important to note that Skadi's combat tactics are unique and very dangerous. The engineering staff have tried to reverse engineer her her sword, but all efforts have failed. The materials used to forge the sword are ordinary, but the craftsmanship is impossible to explain. Some operators from remote areas have seen similar weapons but are not aware of the source. Holding this giant sword would be difficult for most people, but not for the unstoppable Skadi. Unlike most operators who wear heavy armor to protect themselves, Skadi relies only on her sword and her strength. The damage she inflicts is even more impressive than her imposing appearance. After returning from a mission with Skadi, other operators often exaggerate her physical prowess in their reports, to the point where she sounds like a legendary monster. Although Skadi has little interest in debriefings, she humors the higher-ups anyway, typically complaining about how her teammates got in her way, or that the rules of engagement are too constricting. Skadi excels at fighting large masses of enemies, but also tends to cause excessive property damage. This includes wrecked buildings, mangled fences, and once collapsing an entire fort. Skadi is very similar to another operator, Spectre. Much like Spectre, Skadi is not good with Originium, but for Skadi, taking down a target as quickly as possible is the most effective tactic. All this taken together, Skadi is quite unstable. Although she is well behaved, has followed orders, and completed her missions, she operates like an out-of-control freight train in combat, and that should be restrained. Still, Rhode Island may need a force of nature like Skadi for certain missions. Archive file number 3. Skadi wields a giant sword that splits armor, cleaves enemies in two, and busts through barriers. Her face is distorted and intimidating as she rampages through the battlefield in a bloody dance. It is as though she is fighting more than just the enemy in front of her. Reports like this are rejected, as such poetic embellishment is not appropriate for an official report, but it can't be denied that many operators find Skadi's battlefield demeanor hard to comprehend. They are also perplexed by her propensity to abandon the squad and complete missions by herself. Some operators suggest taking to her talking to her and helping her fit into the company, but they are in the minority. Most people don't know the only reason Skadi refuses to cooperate with others is that she doesn't want to put anyone else in danger. Skadi claims everyone who has ever been close to her has met an untimely end, and as such, she has avoided socializing altogether. Despite our misgivings, Rhode Island respects her social choices as long as she does not violate any of our rules. Regardless of where it stems from, her birth, her behavior, her body, or her experiences, the mystery of Skadi remains. Occasionally, others have seen her sitting on the edge of the deck, softly singing to herself. Those who heard the song reported that although they couldn't hear the lyrics, the tune was long, low, and imbued them with a sense of tremendous sorrow. Archive file number 4. I spoke with Skadi at length. She didn't seem to believe me and was a bit uncooperative, but fortunately I had anticipated her needs, and I think Rhode Island would be good for her. I explained why we were speaking. She reluctantly agreed and promised to divulge certain information in exchange for Rhode Island's intelligence gathering assistance. Her preference for isolation stems from a desire to protect others. She has no malicious intent. However, she is hesitant to trust a capable, powerful organization like Rhode Island. This is because she believes she has to resolve her own issues. In our long conversation, I promised to her on behalf of the doctor, and if the doctor doesn't like this, well, it's for the greater good, that if an unknown peril hit Rhode Island that we could not resist, we would give her up. I came to 2 conclusions. Number 1, there is a secret organization to which Skadi has close ties. Not only is this organization hostile, it is violent. Number 2, this organization goes far beyond just Skadi herself. From her description, I think they experimented on Skadi. Or they could be trying to entice her little by little. Another possibility is they can't control her right now and don't want to deal with her until they've crushed her spirit. Skadi also hoped she could find something that would prevent future tragedy. Does that sound antisocial? Wandering alone is a heavy burden to bear. She became a wanderer because she was trying to escape and also showing some rebellion. I think the doctor should be in charge of Skadi. Isn't taking care of an operator's needs necessary to build trust? Oh, Katsit will disagree with me. If she finds out I'm the one who said all this, she'll probably hang me from the bridge for everyone to see. Signed by Redacted. Promotion record. Oh boy, this is a part. Everyone here, it's clear why the medical staff has assembled for this closed-door meeting. Yes, of course. You're all interested in Skadi, aren't you? Whether you are interested in her endocrine system, her skeletal system, her muscles, her nerves, or the fact that her blood originium crystal density is almost 0. What kind of environment could foster that? What race is she? Her environment and physical functions are currently beyond our understanding. And how do they work? Right. Skadi has been kept a secret for too long. On behalf of Rhode Island, all infected people, and on behalf of science itself, we need to find answers. My plan is to put sedatives in her food. Jesus Christ. We'll work out the specific dosage, but enough for 200 people should do, right? Then when Skadi gets woozy, she will be taken to the nearest infirmary, and we've got her. Dissecting her would be a bit too much, but But we only need a little more information to add to what Dr. Kalsid already has. That's it. Even if it's just a blood sample, a little bit of blood is no problem. Maybe a pinch of muscle tissue too. I think that won't be an issue either. Everyone, don't you think? Oh. Dr. Kalsid, how long have you been here? Signed. Dr. Kalsid discovered Warfarin's plan during her secret meeting and fined her 1 month's salary. Oh, Warfarin, you You little crazy vampire. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. This whole plan, like just roofie her, right? That's how you get information. Anyway. Never roofie anybody. Never. Anyway. Jesus. Let's go over her voice files, which means I'm gonna shut up, and then afterwards we're gonna go to Skadi altar. Let's begin.
あなたのために言っておくけど、私からは少なくとも2メートル以上離れることね。もちろん話しかけてくるのもなし。危険な目に合わせるわけにはいかないから。私の履歴書は見た？散々だったでしょ？そうね。私をそばに置くと、あなたは面倒ごとに巻き込まれることになるだろうし、私だって困るのよ。私の髪が長くて綺麗ですって。まあ、そうね。ありがとう。触ってみる？柔らかくてサラサラなはずだから。これにはちょっと自信があるの。あれは、もしかして。今はスペクターと名乗ってるんだったわね。シスターの格好なんてして、一体どういうつもり？記憶がない？それは厄介ね。ドクター、彼女には気を払っておいてね。自分の本当の役目を忘れるなんてダメに決まってるわ。まったく、あなたという人は本当に頑固ね。これじゃあ私、もう全力であなたを守るしかないじゃない。遠方へ広がる青、優しく砂を撫でる白ききらめき。その下にはかつて私が愛したすべてが眠っている。怖い。厄災がまた私の大切な人を奪っていくの。だから逃げることを選んだの。みんなが私のせいで傷つかないように。よし、今日もまた平和な一日だったわね。仲間を巻き込む巨大な触覚もなければ、影に隠れた両手血まみれの狂ったモンスターもいない。戦場に出るだけなら、そうね、気が楽だわ。伝説によると、私の一族はあの厄災と長きにわたって戦ってきたというわ。もしかすると私たちが町に住むあなたたちに迫る厄災を陸の外に食い止めていたのかもしれないわね。だとしたら、私に一杯ご馳走して感謝の気持ちを示すべきなんじゃないかしら。長い長い暗闇を抜けて、ようやく水面を割る。目を開くと、滴るように輝く満天の星が眼下に飛び込み、果てしなく広がる波が頬をなでる。こぼれた涙は故郷と同じ潮の味がした。それに比べてロドスのバスタブは狭くて浅い。いつかあなたにも私の海を知ってもらいたいわ。ドクター、眠ってるの？おやすみ。水に追われることのないいい夢を見られるといいわね。私はスカジ、バウンティハンターよ。あなた、本気で私を雇うつもり？私がいれば厄災を招くかもしれないのよ。これがあなたたちの戦い方ってわけね。だーっと言ってドンと倒してパパッと片付ける。なるほど、覚えたわ。これがロドスのみんながよく口にしてる昇進ね。悪くない感触だわ。まるで本当に強くなったみたい。ええ、多分ね。そんなに求められると結構困るのよ。 もしその覚悟があるのなら、私と一緒に果てしない闇と向き合う準備をしなさい。チーム戦は割と得意だけど、ただみんなの命を私に預けるということかしら。相手が人間ならあまり手応えはないかもね。私が戦ってきた厄災と比べれば全然大したことないわ。あなたに従うわ。単独行動は慣れてるのよ。深海の舞を見せましょう。油断は禁物よ。水面に漂う海藻の奥に何が潜んでると思う？この剣の過去、知れば震え上がるわよ。この身にまとう悪夢よ。歌え。瞬きせずに自分の死に様を見届けることね。なんとか生き延びたわね。敵が何と言おうと、どんな考えがあろうと、私には関係ない。どう倒せばいいかということにしか興味ないわ。腕がなまったのかしら。そんなことじゃ報酬が減るわよ。この程度の不幸なんてまだ始まりに過ぎないのよ。周りに誰もいない部屋をお願い。帽子がちょっと近いわ。ちゃんとあなたを守れる自信がないのに。アークナイツ、身の安全には気を配って、ドクター。
Alright then, and now we're gonna go over to Skadi Altar. Oh boy. So, first off, beautiful live 2D. Let's switch over to here. Why not for a second? First off, actually, first off, let me switch to this. I want to point out one thing, and that is this little symbol that pretty much every operator has to their top left. That symbolizes who they are affiliated with. In Skadi, the Corrupting Hearts case, this is not the symbol of the Abyssal Hunters, but the symbol of Aegir. Because Skadi Regular and every other Abyssal Hunter has the Abyssal Hunter logo, as signifying their allegiance to. But not her. She is definitely completely different. And why am I making this point? Because of the fact that this is, I think, as of current, I don't know if any of the other altars are applicable. I don't think they are from the top of my head, at least the ones who have been released so far. But she is truly a what if scenario. All the other operators are natural progressions in their story narratives, from the tankier shield and mace wielding Knurl to the spear, sword, or lance, whatever it's called, can't remember right now, Knurl the Radiant. Then we have Cruz, who basically stays with the same weapon but just becomes better at what she's doing, increasing her as a playable unit, rarity and such. Lava the Purgatory, same case. What else am I forgetting? Shen is a bit of an oddball there, but when you read her story, it does make sense. Who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting someone. I'm totally forgetting someone right now from the top of my head. But yeah, you see the point I'm making. All of them are basically the future versions of from when we meet them for the first time. This is technically a future version, but it is a what if version if the worst case comes to show. And what is the worst case? Well, her Seaborn blood taking over. So yeah, that would be definitely the worst case. So first off, completely different class. Skadi Regular is a guard. This one is a supporter, categorized as a bard, meaning she does not attack herself. She does have skills, or rather she has one skill with whom she can attack, but in general she is pretty much there to buff and heal your units, which also signifies how goddamn squishy she is. Barely any HP, even at level 50 E2, no resistances, very low cost to deploy, which is amazing. But yeah, everything else is very, very low. But once we go into here, first off, traits. Like I said, she's a bard. It says here, does not attack but continuously restores the HP of all allies within her range, and that HP restoration is equal to 10% of her self-attack. She herself, however, cannot be affected by inspiration skills, and that includes her own. Considering she's a bard, her skills do give inspiration, which is essentially a attack and defense buff towards other units. But when it comes to talents, she does have a minion that she can summon, an ancient kin, a little seaborn beastie that is visible in her art. It's there for 25 seconds, and it acts as an extension to Skadi's field that she can affect. And in one skill's case, that field can also overlap. But regardless, her second talent is a flat 6% attack up when there is... So her attack up when there is an allied unit within her range or in the range of the Seaborn. If the allied unit, however, is an Abyssal Hunter, this operator, aka Skadi, will gain 15% attack instead of the 6. So this doesn't stack, it's either. So yeah, there we have that. Now comes the vomit of skills. Oh boy. So first off, oh boy, let's see if I can explain these in an easy way. First skill is essentially she restores all of her HP once you hit it. She increases her own HP. Furthermore, the healing effect of the first trait is increased to 60%, and she absorbs 50% of the damage that allied units are taking in her range. Also, I want to point out her range is a very unique one, considering it's pretty much like a droplet around her. if you think about it, it's literally like a just sploosh around her. But anyway, the second talent is probably the one you're gonna be seeing her in video being used the most. I really don't remember. I think I've seen like only in a showcase video for the third skill at one point, but the majority of times you will see her on the second talent. And why is that? First off, it's an auto talent, aka automatically triggers. It is an unlimited duration talent as well on top of it, and what it does is all other ally units within the attack range will gain inspiration equal to 50%, so half of her attack and defense. And the healing effect of this unit's trait is also increased to 18%. Now I just want to point out, because I have her on Mastery rank 1, it's 50% and 18%. If you only have her on regular rank 7, it's 45 and 17%. But continuing, her third skill is an actual attack skill. It says here, this unit's trait changes to losing 5% of HP every second while this is active. Now I want to point out this is very similar to how Mizuki's third skill also is acting. Just in his case, Mizuki needs to hit 3 or more targets continuously. Otherwise, if it's 1 or 2 targets, he keeps losing on every hit 15% health. She, on the other hand, keeps losing 5% health every second while this is running, and yes, this can kill her. If she isn't healed during it, she will die. Furthermore, it deals 55% attack as true damage to all enemies that are within range every second. And yes, like I said, this is the one that can be overlapped with her little pet, so you can overlap her field and the field of the Seaborn that she summons, and basically overlap the damage that they both are doing, which is pretty good. And also, all units within the range of either her or the little Seaborn will gain also inspiration, but this time it's equal to 80% of her attack, so almost her full attack gets converted into the inspiration, but only attack, not defense. And yes, this is higher than the second skill one, But this one does have to you have to wait for it to charge up again. So it's good in bursts, but yeah, at the end of the day, most people are gonna be using her second scale because it also gives a defense buff, so it makes your units basically hit stronger and they can tank more. But this is as far as it goes for this. Also, final thing I can say here is she is a limited unit, so yeah, if you don't see a banner, I have no idea if there's ever gonna be a repeat of the banner. Maybe there will be, who knows. So keep an eye out maybe for any news that the community puts out. I personally have no idea if there's gonna be a repeat of this banner. If there will be, maybe consider pulling for her. She is a pretty decent unit when it comes to just for buffing. She can carry a lot of fights, I'll say. But let's get into the file, shall we? And before we begin, let me get a sip here, because this is gonna be this is gonna be a long one. This is text vomit, so strap yourselves in. This is a long one. So, basic info: codename Skadi, gender female, combat experience nothing, place of birth Eager, date of birth March 7th, race undisclosed, height 166 centimeters. Medical tests have confirmed that no infection is present. The following discussion summaries are all based upon observations and calculations of the person in question's cell proliferation status. And now it gets even weirder. Physical exam, physical strength, excellent, mobility, excellent, physical resilience, outstanding, tactical acumen and combat skill, undisclosed, Originium arts assimilation, again, flawed. So this one stayed pretty much the same. Profile. If things continue to develop in this direction, no one will care what exactly she is. It is not Skadi's problem, and a single person can only change so much. What I'm talking about is her psychological state, as well as the final state exhibited by this kind of biological substance. It is something that may well shatter the scales of our society, history, and science. I only pray that our porous medical research conditions are strong enough. And it gets weirder! Clinical analysis. To be frank, I'm not even sure where Dr. Kalsic got this equipment from. Is it really okay for us to mess around with this stuff? Stop looking at me like that, you two. Yeah, I only agreed to help with the analysis because I was a little curious. And geez, Miss Skadi, you just decided to follow along just because of something the doctor told you. Huh? This was your decision. I guess I shouldn't have been so quick to blame the doctor. Alright, doctor, just this one time. I'm not doing this again. Hurry before the boss lady comes back. Imaging tests reveal clear normal outlines of internal organs, and no abnormal shadows have been detected. Originium granules have not been detected in the circulatory system, and there is no sign of infection. At this time, this operator is believed to be uninfected. Cell Originium assimilation 0%, blood Originium crystal density 0.012 units per liter. Are you serious? Well, this isn't good news either. The hematopoietic cells biopside? Ugh, too much medical jargon. Are proliferating. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna die during this reading. Separated from Skadi's body in a petri dish, they're proliferating. Ah, interesting. Archive file number 1. It's not good news, Skadi. Not so good. I have no idea if all Aegir are like this. It's beyond my knowledge. You're saying that Abyssal Hunters and Aegir are not the same? You had to initially go through several procedures. I didn't know about that. I don't have permission to go through your files. But what I'm talking about is, I'm not talking about the changes your body went through at that time. I'm talking about right now. Even right now, your cells are in the process of differentiation. Your epithelial cells, impossible, this defies reality. Data doesn't lie, Doctor. Dr. Kaltsit, you came at just the right time. Take a look at this. Archive file number 2. Maybe this is an opportunity. This person, she's Gladia, one of the heads of the Abyssal Hunter program. This is probably your first time meeting her, though for no particular reason. This matter has little to do with any of Rhode Island's policies, and in the past I've simply treated it as a personal matter. Gladia, Skadi, and Spectre are all from Aegir, and are all Abyssal Hunters. My understanding of the Abyssal Hunters comes from a large amount of data samples, and hopefully Gladia's information will corroborate the data we have on hand. Not awake yet. She has slept for too long. Her body is responding vigorously to the mutation. The Hunters handled the prior Salviento incident respectably. Otherwise, many of Skadi's psychological changes will be irreversible. I did leave Rhode Island for a while, indeed as a result of this incident. Skadi's current attire also serves as a preparation for sneaking into Iberian territory. Even if Iberia has now fallen to the wayside, this can still be considered a rather risky maneuver. You saw the information I sent you, right? Doctor, the Abyssal Hunters and the Aegir have long been fighting against a mysterious entity from the depths of the ocean. Terrestrial city-states have close to no understanding of the ocean, and likewise have no inclination to invest their energy into investigating an unpredictable threat from an unpredictable source. However, these lifeforms are different from the rare species we've discussed before. I can say with confidence that the threat they pose is real, but not widely known due to Iberia's decline and Aegir's isolation. The few people in this room are perhaps among the small number of people on land who've caught a glimpse of the truth and still live. If we fail to respond, how many people will lose their lives because of these lifeforms by the time that the Ripafy destroys us all? There are many calamities capable of eradicating us, and these lifeforms happen to be one of them. I have been wary of this threat for a long time. However, they are far from the vision of the city-states, and I am not strong enough, and my arms cannot reach far enough. And what does this all have to do with Skadi? My conclusion is, Abyssal Hunters are biologically similar to their arch-enemies. That is why Spectre can combat pollutant grade Originium for such a long time. Doctor, Skadi was awakened by those lifeforms. Archive file number 3. Abyssal Hunters are a type of weapon. The Hunters attract the monsters of the sea, just as volcanic vents attract thermophilic algae. Sea terrors rend the flesh of the Abyssal Hunters as if encountering their natural enemies. The Aegir language has a similar concept. We know slightly more about these sea terrors than nothing at all, because we mostly see them when they are already dead. Sea terrors are the terminus of all these sea monsters, brutish and mindless. I am ashamed to admit that I've never managed to catch a living sea terror. When sea terrors are placed in a small and nutrient-rich environment, their cells will stop undergoing apoptosis and autonomously metamorphose. The normal decomposition does not occur and body tissues rapidly degrades, transforming the sea terror into a mass of muscle fibers, still capable of full respiration. In other words, they quickly preserve the nutritional value of their bodies and continue to live on, yet die in an individual sense. Detestable and frightening. You cannot take them captive. If you wish to impose such a word upon them, you are welcome to try. We've also made other discoveries. We hunted these lifeforms many times, and there's one thing I've seen repeatedly. Among them, the individuals with the greatest psychological structure are called the Seaborns. The Seaborns protect the individual organisms. To my understanding, the Seaborns will give their all to this end. No legion will expose its consuls to danger, though the leaders of Rhode Island may not observe this rule. Thank you for pointing out my mistake, Kotsit. I'll be sure to use a more appropriate metaphor next time. In military operations, a centurion will not voluntarily protect a legionnaire unless it is very important. However, these lifeforms are different in that all individuals are seen as equal important within the population, and individuals also see all others as having equal value. I have never seen them fight over food. There's no difference between the information I can convey and the medical report in your hand. Our science consuls can only do complete lineage tracking of embryonic cells, but abyssal hunters are similar to sea terrors and seaborns. Most of our somatic cells are pluripotent. The more frightening thing is that the somatic cells of these lifeforms are constantly mutating, cleverly avoiding deterioration and death. Does this surprise you? Neural theory and genetic drift are a joke to them. Heredity becomes part of the foundation of an individual's development, and the fundamental concept of genes passing from parents to offspring is shattered. Even in the absence of nutrients, this process can continue for a very long time. I still haven't described their general psychological characteristics yet, but you can already infer how disturbing they are from just the gist of things, right? I would like you to keep your lips sealed about the facts I'm about to tell you. No matter how desperately you try to confide these things to people on land, they will only look at you like you're crazy. Abyssal hunters also have a similar fate. Skadi's physiology is changing drastically. How does individual variation affect the entire population? To be frank, if we did have an answer, then there would not have been a reason for abyssal hunters to show up on land. Don't believe me? Then my explanation today might slightly improve your understanding of how grave the situation is. What, I didn't disclose the reason for the birth of the abyssal hunters? I have a strong urge to simply tell you, I don't know, but I've always loathed lying. Therefore, I will confess to you, Doctor, at this time the truth is of no use to you except to worsen your panic. I wasn't trying to intimidate the Doctor, Kotsit. I was simply offering a sincere word of advice. Please imagine that there is a rather unkind future. At that time, each sea monster is as formidable as a seaborn or abyssal hunter. Their numbers grow endlessly until they dwarf even the grains of sand and drops of rain. The laws of nature we are also familiar with retreat steadily in their wake. They may come up onto land, just as the abyssal hunters left the ocean, except the latter did not wish to destroy us. As for them, well, I must remind you once again, Doctor, abyssal hunters are extremely dangerous. We are dangerous weapons. Some abyssal hunters, as they approach the end of their life, will gradually reshape the ecology around them, just as the seaborns do. This is not something that an ordinary spear or vortex spear can accomplish. A portion of the abyssal hunter's stamina and physique come from our sworn enemies, and there is only one degree of separation between Skadi and the detestable seaborn you do not yet know. The same is true for me and Spectre. If the only future that awaits us is a tragic one, the fate of abyssal hunters can only be more harrowing than that of ordinary people. I've told you this much in the hopes that you'll look after Skadi. From Rhode Island's perspective, she is different from me. You also want to protect her, right? As an eager... Okay, that was a weird hitch. As an eager, these are all the secrets I am able to reveal to you, Landwalker. And the reason for all of this is we have a different connection with those creatures. You might know that saying. Speaking in an eager language, what brought the Abyssal Hunters together? ... Archive file number 4. Records of drifting materials. Even if I hide in the ruins, it does not leave, only searching around the wreckage of the ship. Afterwards, it continues to follow me, not making a sound. I asked it questions, but it would not respond. While sleeping, if you can even call it that, its chest rises and falls, but it does not breathe. I don't know if it really fell asleep. My guess is that it doesn't need sleep, but only does it to look more like me. I'm thinking whether killing it counts as revenge, but it doesn't. It wasn't this thing that killed those two. Other than its appearance, just how much can it have in common with the person I knew? Only a ghost would know. I don't know if I am strong enough to squeeze its neck and strangle it. Is its neck soft? After it dies, will it turn as hard as a corpse, as our corpses do? If it doesn't use its lungs to breathe, it wouldn't have the slightest clue of how to strangle it with the tools I have on hand. Only when it opened its mouth did I regret it. It would have been better had it not spoken. I'm so lonely. I miss them greatly. I hate it. I should hate it. And I absolutely must not grow reliant on it. No matter how much it resembles the person I knew, it absolutely is not. It's going to rain again. I'm running short on potable water again. I would rather die like this. But is it humming something? I don't understand it. Such a sad song. My heart has already been corrupted. Promotion file. Don't get too antsy. I more or less have an understanding of the scenarios you've been dreaming about recently. We might not be able to expunge these scenes from the time being, and prescribing medication for you might backfire. The Aegir dared to cast such severe shackles upon you. The way they huddle on the bottom of the sea, neglecting their future population. Based on this alone, I might dare to conclude that those who make such bizarre decisions are scarcely different from the vicious rulers on land. Wake you up? No, I have no such obligation, and if you realize this, that would make things much easier. My response is simply because I hold derision for the many people who deem themselves advanced. Similarly, if you feel like I am trying to fray the relationship between you and someone else, you are welcome to continue that line of thought. Your words should be the clearest, and I couldn't care less about what you think about me. Spectre has been ill for a long time, and Gladia bears the responsibility. There are fleetingly few things they can communicate or reveal to you. However, you also need to be suspicious of them. Not that I think you would do that. Skadi, I just want to say, don't worry too much about your future. What defines you is not the dreams you have, but rather what's written here on your medical examination sheet. Your thoughts, your actions, they drive your motivation. You've chosen to end your self-imposed exile. This may be because Rhode Island has the ability to escape the infiltration and invasion of the Church of the Deep. At least for all these years, no disaster has befallen our operators as a result of you, and that makes you no longer tread as cautiously. Perhaps the efforts of countless operators trying to befriend you have had an effect. You've managed to help them and earn their gratitude. You've established new relationships with them, even if you're busy trying to deny this. As for me, I personally prefer this type of explanation. That is, since you were hired by Rhode Island, and during the time you've spent here, you've rediscovered your objective and clearly recognize the obstacles in front of your path. Some of my data indicates that the changes in the biological structure of those organisms are largely limited to cognition. In other words, they are not passive adaptations, but something you can proactively shape. We are fortunate that they have not yet progressed into passive adaptations, but if we do not act, that day will eventually come. But this isn't what I wanted to talk to you about today. What I wanted to say is, when they want to adapt towards a certain structure, they will metamorphose in that direction. Skadi, if those creatures can become what they want through their own will, you can also use your own will to not become something you don't want. You can still do what you want. For example, an abyssal hunter, or something a bit more liberated, a bounty hunter. An operator also isn't a bad idea. Furthermore, you are who you are, plain and simple. Skadi. You are yourself. Your job and your role are nothing more than the results of your interests. You are not your dreams yet, Miss Skadi. That's right. How about trying to become a regular operator at Rhode Island? For real this time. Dr. and Redacted have also mentioned it to me many times. Now, this is one thing. I believe this whole paragraph here is, at least it feels like it would be one of Kaltzit's speeches, right? At least that's what it feels like. But who is Redacted? Is it someone from HR? Someone who is familiar on the inside with all the things? Who would be counted here with the doctor in the redacted portion? That's the one I find interesting, because if it would be Kaltzit, she would just be mentioned. That would be no reason to hide her name. And the whole file feels like it's being literally said by Kaltzit. But yeah, anyway, let's go into the voice file, and I will shut up for now.
こんな私がそばにいたら邪魔になるかしら。散々な過去が蘇ってしまうかしら。あなたのそばにいることを許してほしいの。時が来たらこんなところからは一緒に逃げ出しましょう。いいかしら。海水から隔絶されたら私たちなんて生き延びられないと思っていたの？違うわ。私と血族たちはもうすぐ空気中を泳げるようになるの。そのうち何もない場所すら私たちの海になるわ。私たちは進化するだけで、進化し続けるだけでいいの。かつての領友たちは私を殺そうとしていた。彼らは皆自分自身と向き合うことを拒絶したの。だけど私は彼らを責めることも傷つけることもしないわ。たとえあんな風に私を拒んでも傷つけようともね。あの時私がしていたことも彼らを傷つけたんでしょうね。私の後悔は彼らと共に死んでいったの。この箱？この箱には私の過去が詰まってる。中に残っているかけらたちはどれも私の過去なの。ちりぢりになったかけらでも今の私が空っぽじゃない。私は現像なんかじゃないってことを証明してくれるわ。少しずつ変化を遂げ、 今の私があるんだから。ドクター、昔のあなたはこんな未来を想像したことがあったかしら。今のあなたが私に憎悪しか抱いてないとしても、そんなあなたの憎しみなんてなんともないわ、ドクター。あなたが望むならずっとそうやって憎み続ければいいわ。まだ憎む力があるうちにね。あなたの仲間ケルシーとアーミアはあなたのことを最後まで信じていいなんて言っていたけど、結局他人を救える人なんていないわ。私は自分の領有を救えなかったし、あなたも彼女たちを救えなかった。私たちは全てを失ったのに、私だけが新しい命と未来を手に入れた。そんなのあなたには不公平よ。まだ私がエーギルにいた頃、家族を殺されたことがあったわ。最初は海に潜む怪物の仕業かと思ってたけど、まさか犯人がエーギル人だったなんてね。私の家族も歌もちっとも怖くないわ。本当に怖いのは人間。あがいたことも抗ったこともあるわ。だけどそれに何の意味があったの？小さな命が残した痕跡も最後には塩にかき消されるわ。あなたは私の最後の友人なのに、彼らみたいに全てを失っても海を拒むつもりなの？昔の私と同じになりたいの？私は病気なの？それとも夢を見ているの？黒い空が私たちの海になった夢を見たの。他の人たちとその空めがけて浮上しても体が沈んでいくことはなかった。変よ、おかしいわ。これが私の未来なの。彼らの顔はどれもおぼろげで、あれらはいや夢。あなたはどんな夢を見るのかしら。あなたは今どこにいるの？その場所も一つの夢なの？ドクター、あなたを待っていたの。ずっと長い間。どうしてここであなたを待っていたか忘れてしまうくらい。でもそんなことどうでもいいの。もうどうでもよくなったの。こういうものはたくさん見てきたわ。もう誰も必要としていないのに、昔の煩わしいしきたりなんてまだ必要なの？今はもう私とあなたしかいないのよ。あなたが少しでも私に歩み寄っていれば、そんなものなんて必要なくなるわ。私の結束になって、ドクター。私の剣は腐り落ちて、かつての領友たちもいなくなった。体を流れるのはもう血液じゃなくなったけど、それでも私は満たされてるわ。だって 海と一つになったんだから。ね、私と行きましょう。あなたの本当の姿が波の奥深くで待っているわ。他の人と一緒に戦うの？戦いの相手は誰？これ以上多くの命が失われるべきじゃないわ。彼らが武器で私を傷つけるとき、何を感じるのかしら。私を厄災扱いしないで。誰にも死んでほしくないの。何がしたいの？従うわ。もう一人じゃないわ。私の血族がすぐそばにいるもの。じゃあこの宴会の歌に耳を傾けて安心して。きっと大丈夫だから。空気も陸地も乾きすぎね。歌声があなたたちの心に染み込んでいくわ。私についてきて。永遠の故郷に帰りましょう。怖がらないで同胞たち。すぐに着くから。彼らも私たちの血族になって渇きの苦しみから解放される。これまでの生き方はあまりにも辛かったでしょうね。あなたは私をこんな風に扱うの？私にもこんな結末を迎えてほしいのかしら。本当にそう思っているのなら受け入れるわ。どうして逃げるの？こうやってあがいても意味のない恐怖が増えていくだけよ。早く行って、ドクター。逃げるの。ここから私のそばから逃げなさい。ここもいつかは元通りになるわ。どうして私はまだこの帽子をかぶっているのかしら。私たちは何も守れないわ。あの平和な未来にただ望みを託すことしかできないの。アークナイツ、ドクター、そばに寄って。
Alright, and this will do it for today. I want to just point out very quickly how Operation Failure voice line is the only voice line where she seems to properly sorta snap back to old Skadi and tries to warn you to run the fuck away from her. Because, well, all the other voice lines are, come here, I want to add you to the collective of the Seaborn. That is the majority of the voice lines. She's either describing something or she's saying like, hey, doctor, come here. You want to become a Seaborn? Be one of the hive mind? Let's go, I guess? No. Thank you. No. Nope. No thanks. This is all I say about this. But yeah, anyway, like I said at the beginning of the video, tomorrow will be, well, this is already technically the final one before the Stultifera Novice release. Tomorrow will be the final of these special narration videos in the form of Skadi and Skadi. Jesus, I'm reading the name on the screen. Spectre and Spectre Altars. Full files and voice files. And a poll video, and sometime after that there's gonna be, Jesus Christ, there's gonna be a lot of record tomorrow. But anyway, also final note I want to say here is, if you've already yourself played through, or if you haven't read yet the Undertide story, aka the part 1 to Stultifera Novice, I would suggest, I know it's already tomorrow, but either go out of your way and see a short version of what the hell happened in that story, because well, Novice is gonna continue that story and it's gonna be a bit out of the way if you don't know what part 1 entailed. Also, for extra stories, I would suggest, and you can find them on this channel, to look up the operator record for Gladia, which is the part 1, sorry, not part 1, is the technically the prologue to Undertides, and also the second, as it is called part 2 on this channel, the second Spectre Operator record is technically a continuation of Undertides, because it takes literally place after the events of Undertides and a bit beyond. It is very interesting because during that whole portion you have a Spectre that is more or less coherent and is more or less herself, her true self. And you have a little conversation between herself and the Doctor actually happening in that one, which is very interesting to see happen. But anyway, this will be it for today's video. I need to rest my voice for now because that was a lot to read through in one go. And I will see you all tomorrow in a bunch of videos potentially. So hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.